So you can tell. And she just got back yesterday, this year, and I got back on Saturday. But my name is Captain McGowan, Jeff McGowan. I'm the AS300 instructor. For those that aren't aware, I also am become cadets. Hoorah. Since we're killing time, my background is as an engineer, mechanical engineering. I'm slated as an aerospace engineer in the Air Force. I did a stint as a C-130 structural engineer and a C-130 squadron commander on this project. And followed that up at SMC, which is LA Air Force Base, which is LCN, Los Angeles, where I was with the Delta II and what else did I do? A missile satellite warning system. So 2 different groups there, and now I'm here as an instructor for the next 3 years. So if you're 100, there's a good chance I'll still be here in the commission. All goes according to plan. But other than that, you still need me to talk right? So I'm sorry I missed out on introduction last week, but I'm looking forward to this year, and I look forward to meeting all the new faces. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to stop by.
Now we'll have religion briefing by Father Dor.
All right, I appreciate you all waiting a second. My name is Cadet Doug Peterson. I am the OSS Squadron Commander, and it's my privilege here to introduce our next speaker, which is Father Bill Dor. I kind of wanted to get a few of his past details out to you guys. I know him from Mass and things like that on church, but I'm not sure how well you all know him. So I asked him for some tidbits, and he has a way more interesting bio than I actually anticipated. I know he had done a lot of things that I can learn on. He has done a lot of interesting things in the past, but he is a lot more diverse than I thought. A Nebraska native, he joined the Navy at the age of 17 upon the graduation of high school and spent 4 years as an electronics technician working in the Navy during the Vietnam War. After that, he left the Navy in 1971 using the GI Bill and went to the University of Notre Dame. There, he met the Congregation of Holy Cross and was ordained a Holy Cross priest in 1980 at Notre Dame. He returned to the Navy as a chaplain in 1985, serving in Okinawa, the Philippines, and later aboard the USS Midway during the Desert Storm. He left the Navy in 1991, following the first Gulf War, and worked at Notre Dame until 2004 when he came here to UP to work with campus ministry. He was also a pastoral resident at Christie Hall. So that kind of brings us up to present day, where I'm sure you probably will cover some of the exciting things that are happening in your near future here. And without further ado, Father Dor.
Thank you, Doug, and thanks for the invitation to join you all. The theme that he gave me is religion in the military, and a broad theme. So, maybe the first thing, though, would be just to say what it's like to have served aboard the USS Midway, which is now a museum in San Diego. Anybody ever visited? So, I'm an artifact. But I'm on my way back to the Navy. I'll go on active duty as a Navy chaplain again in October. So, and I don't know where I'll be yet. So, anyway, thanks for the invitation. I have a short time, and then I wanted to certainly open it for any kind of questions or comments you have. So I framed it in the 3 R's. You know, reading, writing, arithmetic, all that kind of stuff. The 3 R's, the first being religion. And whether you're a believer or not, or whether you practice faith in some organized church, at some level in the human experience, we would say everyone has a spiritual dimension to their life. Think of it if you've ever heard a wonderful piece of music that just kind of lifts you up. Or maybe out here in the Oregon wilderness, you're sitting there under a tree contemplating life itself, and a word that students like to use, boss. But at a pretty basic level, we would say that's a spiritual dimension of our life, whether we practice some faith or not. So, using that as a starting point with that R called religion, in our own Constitution in the United States, the country was founded on something called religious freedom. And it was the exercise, the freedom to exercise religion. One way to think about that in our own context is when developers move into a new piece of ground someplace and they're going to put up a whole housing. Before they even start in dividing the land, they establish certain space for, well, these are going to be government facilities. Everybody needs some civil government. Over here on this corner, we're going to have space for churches or synagogues because everybody needs that in their neighborhood. It's just part of our experience of life and people and community. So we would say the same thing in the military, that part of what we defend is people's freedom to exercise their religious beliefs. And that as we create the landscape for you and for me to go about our business, we'd say, well, over in this corner, Midway, it was pretty small, I'll tell you that. My office was a little closet. But we're going to have the chaplain's office so that people are free to exercise that way. So that would be part of the movement in the military when we would say, what does religion mean? To allow each person that room, that space, that acknowledges the sacred space within. Now, something that has really happened culturally in our own experience, when I was a Navy chaplain before, it was primarily Christians, and occasionally you'd meet a Jewish chaplain. Today, because our cultural landscape has expanded a bit, I hear that there are Buddhist chaplains, and that there are Muslim chaplains. Have you ever run into a Muslim chaplain? I'm interested in seeing, how that all takes shape within the chaplain community. But again, it's that free exercise. We say we have the population, they deserve to be free in their expression, so we accommodate that. So then we say, well, with regard to religion, we cannot establish a state religion. That separation of church and state. So something that you're going to find in the military experience is you are free and I am free to practice our faith. But we cannot proselytize. I can't go to somebody and say, well, you're a Buddhist, you really ought to be a Catholic. Or you're a Hindu and you really ought to be a Baptist. We can't do that because each person has to be free to exercise their own spiritual life. They say, gee, that's odd, that we're supposed to be witnesses and we're supposed to go let people know the good news. I think in our culture, in the military, it's similar to politics. You can have your politics, and you can be an independent or a Republican or a Democrat, and you can